Hi guys, I have just a little tutorial for you today on using blocking wires to block shawls. You might have caught some clips of this on my Instagram stories a couple weeks ago. I'm actually using not the Crow-Tuck sound shawl, but a different shawl in this example, but the general principles still apply. Blocking wires are really going to help you get the right shape for your shawl, so if they're available to you, I definitely recommend that you use them. In the case of Crow-Tuck sound, what you will do, the same as in the videos, is put wires through all three sides, and then you'll want to block the longer straight edge first. You want to pin that first along the top. So that's this edge here. Then you're going to want to pin the bottom edge. And here you want to be careful not to stretch too much because this is ribbing. So try to keep all the ribs nice and straight and even. You want to spread it out so it opens up a little bit, but you don't want to overstretch it. And then the last thing you'll do is to pin out the longest edge, which is the diagonal. So that's the last side that you're going to want to pin out. And this is really going to help you get this to open up as much as possible and to get a nice triangular shape. And then the last thing I wanted to mention were the tools that I am using here. The blocking wires are from Knit Picks. They're the only blocking wires I've ever tried, so I can't really compare them with anything else. But they're sturdy and flexible, and they work well for my purposes. The pins are really just, whatever pins I can find. I've got T-pins and sewing pins and whatever I can find that works. But you do want some pins that are pretty sturdy, so you don't want pins that are super bendy or weak. And then what I use for blocking mats, you can actually see behind me over here, topped with candy that my mother-in-law brought me from Chile, are puzzle mats for kids that I bought on Amazon. Or maybe $10 or $12, and it's 9. And so they're kind of foam mats. They fit together so you can lay them out in different arrangements depending on the size of whatever you're blocking. And so $10 or $12, that's about half the price of official blocking mats, things that are sold as blocking mats. So on the downside, they don't have any like grids or anything that you would use to make sure things are the right measurements. But they're much cheaper, and for the purposes of just blocking, they work just as well. So definitely that's my recommendation for blocking mats is just to pick up some of the kids' puzzle mats on Amazon, much lower price. All right, so now I will show you how to block a shawl. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to put the blocking wires all along the top edge of the shawl. Usually I use 2. This part is frankly really not very fun, so I like to catch up on my podcast or something like that while I'm doing it, because it is a bit tedious. Okay, so now I have the wires all along the top, and I used 2. I switched kind of right in the middle, and now I'll use 1 each for the sides. So what I'm going to do for the sides is to just run the wire right through the tip of each of these points all along both edges. Okay, so now I have all 4 wires in, and now I get to start pinning. I'll start with the top edge. Now I have the top edge all pinned out, stretched out as much as possible, nice and straight. So now the sides. So the first thing I'm going to do before I start on the sides is to find the center point of the shawl here and put a pin there in the bottom. Okay, so now I've got the pin at the bottom point, so I'm just going to pull these wires as much as I can to stretch this out and then put a pin at each point. And now we're all done. You can see that it is stretched very taut to really open it up, and make it as big as possible.